Welcome to Keeper of the Mountain. I'm really happy that everyone who's watched before has come back again. And to anyone new that's watching, well, welcome to the show. What you're going to see is some guy who's never done any of this before trying to get it done. So I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do it wrong. And somehow it's going to work. So thanks for coming. If you like it, come back again. Hit the like button, subscribe, what have you. Appreciate every last one of you. Now today, we're going to do something that's difficult. You know, it's pretty easy to make something one of a kind, and quite frankly, most things that are one of a kind are only one of a kind because once they've made it that way, they realize that was a really bad idea, and so they don't want to do it again. But I need to make the rear mounts for this rear end, this IRS suspension that I'm putting in the car. And I have to make a bracket on the driver's side first. And then once I get that figured out, I'll move over and make another one on the passenger side that's as close as I can to exactly the same. This will get the rear end installed and held in place so that all the angles are correct. It's straight with the car, it's straight with the engine. Well, you'll see as we go along, there's a lot of challenges to this to make things work properly. So let me get changed into my work clothes and see if I can make this happen. There's this little thing called pinion angle. Now, in the rear end, you see this is the pumpkin right here. And inside the pumpkin, there's a ring gear and a pinion gear. The ring gear is in the shape of a ring, and then the pinion hooks is what the drive line hooks to. You see this guy right here? The drive line hooks to that. It spins this bolt here that looks like with a big nut on it. That's the front end of the pinion gear. And it runs on a plane. It's got an angle to it, which is 90 degrees off from this flange. So if I get this at a particular angle, then you just go 90 degrees and that's where the angle of the other shaft is. So the challenge is that I have to get the angle of the pinion the same as the tail shaft on the transmission. Now, why do you think that is? Well, the reason is if you don't, these universal joints right here, when they turn at an angle, which they're designed to do, they vary in speed. And if the angle is different between this universal joint and the universal joint at the back end back here, then they will vary at different rates. And when they do that, you get a vibration, and it's terrible. So how do you measure it? I mean, there's nothing flat here. It's just this floppy yoke and everything. How do I get that? Well, fortunately for us, up here at the front of the engine, these pulleys are in exactly the same plane as the transmission in the back. So if I measure this angle, whatever angle this is setting at, this vibration damper pulley, and then I go back to the pinion shaft and I make this angle the same as the vibration damper, then I'm going to have an equal angle of the dangle. And that will eliminate drive shaft vibration. That's my plan today. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get it in place, and then we're going to build brackets back here because this particular rubber mount was the one that hooked in the back of the Cougar, and I need to hook it to this frame rail right here. So that's the two parts of this video. One is getting the angle of the dangle correct, and the other is making the bracket to hold it in place. All right, so we're at 5 degrees on the vibration damper. So let's go see what it is on the pinion gear. Okay, so back here on the pinion gear, we're talking 0 degrees. So I have to change this one to 5 degrees. We're gonna have to jack this up till it goes to 5. So let's do that. Four degrees there. Let's see where we're at on the difficulty of this process was, as I picked up the back of the frame, it would change the pinion angle, but would also change the tail shaft angle. So but they were going in opposite directions, which is convenient because all I had to do was find where the two angles cross paths. So here we are. I've got this one at 4 degrees and I have this one at 4 degrees. So now that they're the same, we can build these brackets on the back to hold the rear end up and hold it in place. It's a little higher than I had it anticipated, but you know what? All that can be fixed. We'll get this in place and then we can adjust the ride height. All right, so I cut this piece of cardboard out to basically give me the shape of metal I need. And that fits around here, so see where I need to go, how I need to make that happen. And I take a piece of metal, come down here, square with the frame, and I make a mark down here. And I know I have to go 2 inches past that mark. So I'll measure 2 inches back here, and I'll have a mark, and then I will know. So basically I need a piece of metal shaped like that. So let's go build one. Now that I have this built, got these two wings, goes to the frame. It'll set right on top here. Let's put it in place. Ground on here because God knows we need a ground. there we go. It's all built, all tacked in place. I got to finish welding it up later, and then we'll clean it up the rest of the way and paint it with the rest of the frame. And I still have plenty of room for the springs in there. I just got to make sure I have the right springs. I'm thinking these springs are too heavy duty because they were holding up the back of that heavy Cougar. And this car is nowhere near as heavy, so I got to do something. I have a plan though, you'll see. But now I need to make another one just like it for that side over there to hook that side up. And then I'm all done. Well, that's about enough for today. And you know, if you want to see me hook up these springs and make all that stuff work, you'll have to come back another time when I bring out the next video, because that's the next video, is getting springs on this thing. Then we'll have a rolling chassis. I can put air in the tire, set it on the ground, get some idea of the attitude. And remember, do a little bit every day, because a lot of littles make a big.